can call it therapy. Yeah, I agree with it. If it's something like this, or if it's something, the space where I can go and talk to my brothers, my elders and stuff, that's trying to guide me out of my issues, what I'm saying, that actually know the way, then yes, I embrace that full heartedly. And
Mm,
I'm glad you touched on that, because it's like you're able to connect some of the reasons why I think the way I think, and a
mm,
lot of it is valid. Like I said, I'm an accountable. I'm a hold myself accountable, especially when I say these things that could trigger other people. I will say this: during the time when I was a young man, and this may be able to substantiate my point of why I say women are delusional, is
mm,
because whenever I was a young man and I used to see men come in, some of these men were decent men that actually was willing to take care of us. And it
mm,
was many of us. But my mother had these, what do you call it? Superficial, right?
mm,
These superficial things about what she wanted out of a man, and she blew these guys off.
mm,
So these guys didn't have a chance because they weren't in this ideal guy that she wanted. So
mm,
when I say, like, look, man, like, these guys are willing to take care of another man's kids, but you want to have this criteria on this guy to where it's no way he can match that. That's
yeah,
where I call delusion. You know what I'm saying? I call, like, look, that's totally unfair. This man is getting a bad deal already, because a lot of young kids are not going to be loyal to this guy anyways. But the fact that he's willing to go out here, I'm like I said, I got big ups to any stepfather, any father that's willing to come in and take care of kids that's not his. That's a
mm,
very hard thing to do. But whenever you go to a woman and you want to do these things, and she's like, "Oh no, you got to be this, you got to be that, and you got to be that, and how much money? No, I don't want that." That's where I get triggered.
mm,
I'll say that. That's where I get triggered. I'm like, "Yo, what, really? This brother's willing. I have a sister. She's that way. These guys are willing to come in and take care of all four of her kids and all four different baby daddies. Like, hey, are you nuts? Like, you lucky. But no, I'm beautiful. You know what I'm saying? I got this and that. I can get whatever man I want. Like, come on, man. And those are the women that I talk to. Like I said, it's my audience. That's what I got to deal with. Maybe as I grow a little further, what I'm saying, I'll be able to be faced with different, women with different
mm,
mentalities and mindset, and I'm capable of still speaking to those type of women. So that's not up for question. So,
mm,
like I said, man, I like another thing about me, man. I don't mind, like, giving you my background. I'm giving you understanding of where I'm at today. How I got here. I think that all strengthens, you know, who I am as a person. You know what I'm saying? It may not validate everything I say. I would actually have to substantiate those points. But for the most part, it'll give you a understanding of, like you said, you was able to actually walk back. It'll give you an understanding of who I am and where I came from, and a lot of the things that I'm saying, the reason why I got some of the resentment I have. So I'd never been asked these questions, and I appreciate the questions, because it allows me to, like, go back in time and and see those things that I went through and actually appreciate where I am at today. So it's always good to be able to reminisce. You know what I mean?
No, I appreciate that, and I can see the audience are responding to that um, as well in a positive manner. And I think this is the aspect of vulnerability that as men we all need as well, and it helps not only men but it also helps the women as well to see that we're actually human. You know what I mean? Because we often are in a place where we're literally in a place where we put on a brave face, and we just kind of put our strap up our boots, so to speak, and just get on with it. But those wounds don't stop. And I would say this. I understand where you're coming from more now, right? So I think the important thing here is that when we're seeing, I think it's quite interesting, right? Because you mentioned about seeing your mother and her choices and seeing your sister and having her choices. And I think what's really powerful about that is when I say about um, all of us do this, we have our confirmational biases, meaning that until new information is presented in certain situations, what will happen is we'll actually find things and things will actually be drawn to us and attracted to us that will confirm our bias, right? So, like for instance, let's say for me, I might say, you know, women aren't kind, whatever, right? But the reality is, I've experienced that from, let's say, I'm not saying this actually me, I'm saying an example. Let's say I've experienced that from my mum and I've seen that with my sister. Now, what we don't realize is, as a pattern of thought, we actually actively start looking for those examples. We actively start looking for it, because what we need to do is confirm that bias, because as human beings, we need to make judgments. The judgments actually save us in situations, right? If I can stereotype you or I can group you, I now know how to behave with that group. And so I'm saying, from what I'm seeing, you wouldn't be wrong from your perspective in a sense of what you've seen. And what we're having now is a conversation of perception and perspective, because what I've seen is different to what you've seen, right? I haven't seen always single mothers who behave like, I've spoken to single mothers, and I can agree there's certain aspects of what I agree with you with, but then I've also spoken to single mothers and I've seen, yo, they generally just the 666, quote unquote. A lot of these people don't even want that. Listen, look, we make jokes on here in the channel. Listen, if ideally women would want 666, let's be honest, ideally, right? The same way ideally I want the finest babe, the baddie who's kind, loving, caring, ideally, right? And there are a lot of women who often will choose the ideally, but then as they grow and they mature, as they get wiser through experiences, through conversations that they're having with other women, older women, like we're doing right now with older men, they also start to learn that some of these things are idealistic and they're not realistic to what I need in relationship. What I've seen is a lot of women, single mothers, single women, I've seen that as they get older, whether it gets to 22, 23, 24, whatever, 26, whatever, 30, whatever you want to call it, they also start to realize some of the expectations I have need to change. Just like me and Sean have this conversation all the time, right? We have this conversation about wanting that kind of woman that has a little bit of that spice. You know what I mean? When I was a kid, I don't want to say kid, when I was younger, I wanted a woman that would challenge me completely. You know what I mean? I want to fight with you. You know what I mean? I want that tussle. I want to feel some heat so I can come back to you and be like, babe, you know I love you. You know what I'm saying? You know you love me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And as I got older, I realized, bro, that's not going to sustain me in a marriage. That's not going to help me. I need peace. Shoot, when I start seeing that, I start running away. And so as we grow and mature, we start to realize our experiences begin to shape us and should change if we have good experiences, some of the ways we look at women, right? And that's my big thing. My thing is that I think if we have more conversations like this, Bruiser, I'm telling you now, the manosphere, especially the manosphere, I take issue with them. A lot of their points are from hurt places. They're not from healed perspectives. And so then how they feel about women, when they get into a space, they group think and then they group act. And guess what? Group thinking, group acting gonna get you single. The same way we say about women, that other single women keep them single. Well, group thinking, as sometimes as manosphere, when men are not intent on making sure that, you know what, you choose the right person, it's going to keep us single, bro. It's going to keep us single. It's going to keep us angry. It's going to keep us broke. We need the right type of people around it, which is why I want to end on this point so you can jump in, and then I'll let the guys jump in as well. When you said something so powerful, you said you had to even remove the circle you were in to get with other brothers who had your best interests at heart. Do you know what that says? That says that even men are just as bad as women. They don't have your best interests at heart too. Single men are just as bad as the single women. They will keep you single. Okay, they'll keep you lonely. But if I want to be in a sustained marriage where I want to see my marriage grow, I want to see my marriage flourish, then Bruiser, I need to be asking you questions, saying, bro, how did you manage to substantiate a relationship and a marriage for 10 years? What were you doing that made it stay this long? How are you still sustaining it? I need to be tapping into you so that I can get this information so that I can also have a successful marriage. I don't want to be single forever. I'll be honest with you. I don't want to be single. It's lonely. I don't care if you're a man or woman out there. Any man that tells you that being single is great is lying to you. Okay. When you're 20, yeah. When you get to 30 and you start seeing real, that's lonely, bro. Ain't nobody want that. You know what I'm saying? Jump back in and I'll let the guy jump in after. Go for it, bro.
Man, that is absolutely profound what you said, my brother. That's the reason why I sit here and I pay attention to you, because There's not a lot of brothers that I've been able to listen to actually give me any value. And that's the beauty of it. And I'm glad what you said about perspective. And what I believe is 10% of what happens and 90% of what you perceive. That is
Mm,
what your reality is. And your reality is based on your experience, and my reality is based on my experience. But the key point to it, and you touched on it, is the information, being able to share information with each other and receive it. Because now that I'm able to receive it, I'm able to see the other side that I may have not experienced. And you're able to see the other side that you may have experienced. And it's like, okay, look,
true.
if I share this information with this guy, maybe we can come to an understanding to where it actually can help us grow as men. And whenever we encounter other men, we can share the same information. And that's the beauty of it. Although we have unique, you know what I'm saying, differences and unique experiences, being able to share the information that we haven't experienced yet is key. Is I think that's very, very like needed. And I appreciate it. And that's